Hi, I'm Chris Castle with SolidBox TV, and today I'm going to show you the M5510 and 7510 workstations from Dell. First off, you may be familiar with the M3800 and the M4800 workstations from Dell. These are essentially the replacements of those two workstations. They're a significant improvement over those two laptops. So we'll go into an in-depth review of each of these products and see which one you like better. All right, let's start with the Dell 5510. Some specs on here. First off, it can handle the Xeon processors as well as the i7 processors. It can handle up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. And when you're running at 32 gigabytes of RAM, the speed on that RAM will be limited to 2133 megahertz SD-RAM. And those are two DIMMs that are going to be non-ECC. Okay, so if you have the Xeon and you have 32 gigabytes of RAM, that's a non-ECC configuration. The graphics card right off the bat is the Quadro M5010M. That's a 2 gigabyte card that runs a monitor, external monitor, all the way up to a 4K external monitor. The display that's built into the laptop is a 15.6 inch ultra sharp FHD IPS. And of course that's an LED backlit. And so that's going to give you 1920 by 1080 resolution. What we love about this screen is that it's anti-glare, so it has a very crisp, vibrant display, yet there's no glare from the back like you would have like with some of these consumer model laptops. And so just as far as working on this every day, this is going to be very easy on your eyes. But for most people, this is a travel laptop. It's the smaller one that replaces M3800. So really, you're going to use this display quite a bit. So that's why you want it to be a good display. In terms of hard drive, what we'll typically do is a single 256 gigabyte PCIe hard drive as a primary, which is where we put our OS and our programs. And then we'll have a secondary data drive, another 512 solid state drive in there. Now, if you're the kind of person who just wants one single drive, the PCIe port can handle up to a 512 gigabyte drive, and that's sufficient for most people, especially if this is a travel laptop. Of course, ports, let's talk about that. We got one Thunderbolt port on here, and that's a Thunderbolt 3. Got two USB 3.0 ports with the power share, so obviously they're powered enough to power those external devices. HDMI, of course, for your display, and then of course there's a built-in camera and web headphone jack and the microphone combo, the all-in-one 1/8 inch jack here. Now what's very important to point out here is if you're going to use the Dell docking station that we sell, you can use one of those USB 3.0 ports to power that. But we find the most typical configuration for people to use an external monitor is to use that HDMI output. It's the most responsive output for your display. There's an SD card reader, and that of course can handle SD cards up to 64 gigabytes. Dimension-wise, the laptop is the thinnest that Dell makes at 0.45 inches. The weight, and that's where it's remarkable, the weight of this maxed out is about 3.9 pounds. We're seeing about 4 pounds in reality here. Wi-Fi card that's built into this laptop is the dual band AC card 8260, and that also has a Bluetooth 4.1 card built into it, all integrated. So it's a very robust card. You're going to pick up all sorts of Wi-Fi networks with this. It's the ultimate travel Wi-Fi card you could have. Now let's talk about the battery life on this. What's really the reality here with battery life? Well, this is a 3-cell battery, 56 watt hours of battery life. It's lithium ion. So the good thing is this battery charges really fast. It has the express charge technology. Of course, the power adapter that goes with that is a 130 watt AC adapter. Fortunately, that's not a huge adapter. So it's not like the old bricks that you used to have with these workstations. So the good news is it charges quickly. Battery life, we're seeing pretty much between 3 to 4 hours of using SolidWorks and programs that are really intense. And if you're doing stuff like word processing and stuff, you could see up to 6 hours. Now, if you're looking for a budget processor to go with your 5510, you can go down to an i5 processor or an i7. In both cases, they're great alternatives to the Xeon. What you're getting out of the Xeon, obviously, is a little bit of stability in multitasking. But let's just be honest here. If this is a travel laptop, you could probably be very happy with the i5 processor. That runs at 2.3 gigahertz, turbos into 3.2, and then the better i7 is an i7 6820HQ. That's also a quad-core processor. Same specs pretty much, 2.7, and goes up to 3.6 gigahertz. Phenomenal options there. You'll save some money if you go to the i7 over the Xeon for sure. All right, let's talk about the 7510. This is an outstanding platform, but just to make sure you know right away, this is pretty much a replacement for like the 4800 series chassis, where it's thicker. The primary reason why we'd sell this to you is that this is compatible with an ePort Plus docking station, so you can dock these like you would the bigger series laptops we've had in the past, like the 6800 and so on. So this is really kind of meant for the person who's traveling every once in a while, but wants to be able to dock the laptop the majority of the time and have that docking station plugged into big monitors to give you a traditional at the office type workstation experience. Now let's talk about specs on this. First off, let's go straight to the processor. What are the options here? Well, with this chassis, you have the Xeon option. You have i5 and i7, but this is the same i7 that we offer in the 5510, which is the i7 6820 HQ. Like I mentioned before, that's a quad core running at 2.7, goes all the way up to 3.6 in turbo mode. The same kind of RAM, up to 32 gigs, but this is 4 8 gig sticks working together at 2133. So if you want to buy one of these from us, you can buy it as little as 8 gigabytes of RAM and then later upgrade it to 32 if you want. So it's very flexible in that sense. Hard drive, same thing. We like to stock it with a 256 gigabyte PCIe hard drive and make that the OS and a hard drive that we put our programs onto. And then we'll, of course, stuff one more hard drive into that chassis to give you your data. In that case, the secondary bay is a 2.5-inch SATA drive port, so you can stick anything up to a 1 terabyte solid state in there if you want to. Now, I mentioned the graphics cards that are available on the 7510. There are 2 Quadro cards that are available for the 7510. There's the Quadro M1000M, just like in the 5510. And then there's the upgraded M2000M card. And the M2000M card, we would actually push that towards somebody who's working with large assemblies, who's working with programs that can actually use the GPU. But for the most part, the M1000M is more than sufficient for a lot of the SolidWorks users out there that are even considering this platform. But just to talk about the specs on those 2 cards, on the M1000M, that has 2 gigabytes of onboard memory versus the 4 gigabytes that are available on the M2000M. So again, a pretty significant upgrade just in terms of the memory there. But the price, it is also a significant factor here when you upgrade that. The display, well, this is interesting. So we find the display on this chassis to be a little bit of a regression to the 5510. It's still a 15.6 FHD display with anti-glare. However, we find that the display is not quite as good as the 5510. It's still perfectly fine for SolidWorks. But again, remember the mission of this laptop. This is meant for somebody who travels every once in a while, but is more concerned about docking this into a docking station at the office and using monitors, external monitors, all right? So we notice there's definitely a little bit of a downgrade when it comes to the onboard display. Ports, we have a few more USBs here. We have 4 USB 3.0 ports, an MHDP, which is the mini display port, and also mini docking station port. So you can actually use one of the third-party docking stations out there to plug in this mini display port / docking port that we have here. HDMI, of course, and the headphone microphone combo. There's an SD card reader. Again, supports up to the 64 gigabyte card. Now let's talk about dimensions here. Finally, this is thicker. This is over an inch, 1.09 inches. So more than twice the thickness of the 5510. Big difference right away. By the way, that height is measured towards the front. If you go towards the back, it's 1.3 inches. So even thicker towards the back there. Weight, now this is where it's a big difference. Again, you're not traveling a lot with this laptop. This weighs a minimum 6.16 pounds. Remember, the 5510 was significantly less. It was actually under 4 pounds. So if you travel a lot, this is not the one you want to use, but again, more for the office. Same kind of quality wireless card here, the Intel dual band AC8260, the best Wi-Fi card out there in the market with a Bluetooth 4.1 standard. The big upgrade in this system here is definitely the battery. It's a 6-cell, 72 watt hour lithium ion battery. So in theory, it could go twice as long as the 5510. Now this definitely uses the same processor and graphics card for the most part. So yes, in theory, you could definitely get twice the battery power of this thing. But the bad part here is that it comes with a bigger power adapter. It's a 180 watt AC adapter with the 7mm barrel. And that is unfortunately kind of more weight in your bag. But that's the power adapter needed to charge that bigger battery. So to wrap this up, what's our take on these 2 laptops? First off, if you travel quite a bit, the 5510 is the obvious choice. If you find yourself in a combination of travel and working at a desk quite a bit, the 7510 is the way to go. But fundamentally, these are both very similar systems. They have pretty much the same platform, processor options. RAM capacity is obviously higher in the 7510, but most SolidWorks users will be very happy with the 16 gigabytes that are available in the 5510. In the very end, it's your preference of, do you prefer to dock your laptop or do you prefer to have a much thinner laptop that's a lot easier to put in a small bag and travel with? They're an excellent choice for the person that designs on the road and designs in the office quite a bit. I'm sure you might have some more questions, so please don't hesitate to call us at 877-697-9269. Thanks again for watching SolidBox TV.